Close your eyes and listen, for beneath the lapping tides, deeper than the ocean's darkest trenches, there sleeps a city, silent, majestic, and forgotten. Atlantis. A name wrapped in mystery, whispered in wonder, carried across time like a dream lost to the sea. Let your thought drift unmoored like a raft adrift on the ancient water. Breathe in the salt kiss air of a world long past. Imagine great marble halls crowned in gold shine through broken streets, and towers glinting with crystal now sunken in silence. Tonight we journey into a legend that refused to die. It never forgotten. The story of Atlantis begins not in the ocean but in the mind, in the writing of one of the greatest philosophers the world has ever known, Plato. In the year 360 before Christ, in Atlantis, a city of thinkers and dreams, Plato began to dictate two dialogues, the Timaeus and Critias. Within their page, nestled between discussion of ideal state and natural order, lies a tale so profound, so vivid, that would echo through the centuries. Plato tells of civilization unlike any other, a mighty naval empire born from the gods themselves. Atlantis, he claimed, existed 9,000 years before his own time, a marvel of architecture, power, and balance. It sat behind the pillars of Heracles, what we know today as the Strait of Gibraltar, and there in the vast Atlantic Ocean, the island kingdom flourished. But Plato offers more than myth. He paints Atlantic with details that breathe life into stone. This was no fable, he insisted, but history passed down from the ancient pirates of Egypt, told to the great statesman Solon during his travels. Solon had spoken with the learned scribes of Sais, who described a time when Atlantis dared to conquer the world and was struck down by nature itself. And so through Plato we meet Atlantis not merely as a dream, but as a memory cloaked in marble, mystery and meaning. Let us close our eyes and return to that time. In the beginning, the gods divided the earth as though casting lots among siblings. To Poseidon, god of the seas and earthquake, fell a great fertile island far out in the Atlantic Ocean. It was ringed by water, lush with forest, fed by streams that sparkled silver. Here Poseidon found a mortal woman named Cleito, beautiful and wise. She lived alone atop a hill near the island center. The god of ocean fell in love. To protect her, Poseidon carved the hill into a fortress. He surrounded it with alternating ring of land and sea, 2 ring of island, 3 of water. So ingeniously shaped that no ship could approach without passing control channel. Over this, he built bridge and gate, guarded by bronze towers. At the heart of the concentric city, atop the central island, he built a magnificent palace for Plato, encircled by garden, temple, and glistening fountain. Plato bore Poseidon 5 seat of two sons. The eldest, Atlas, was given the central hill and became king of the whole island. From his name came Atlantis, the island of Atlas. Each of them 10 brothers rule a part of the island, forming a council of kings bounded by scared law. They meet every 5 or 6 years beneath straight skies to feast and pass judgment. At this gathering, they would slay a bull in a sacred temple, dip its blood in garden cups, and savor their oath before the flame of Poseidon. The city was one of the elegance and abundance. The Atlantis built place from red, white, and black stone, harvested from the mountain themselves. They harnessed natural hot springs for warmth and healing. The harbors bustled with ships. Their field flourished with fruits unknown to the outside world. They constructed canals, aqueducts, and roads that glittered with orchalam, oriclam, a mythical metal second only to gold, which shimmered like fire in the sun. Statue of the god rose high above the temple, Poseidon riding winged horses, dolphin dancing at his feet. Great arenas hosted chariot races, and libraries stored scrolls of science, geometry, and medicine. The people lived in harmony, at least for a time. It was said that Atlantis lived in divine favor as long as its king remained pure of heart and mind. But as generations passed, the blood of the gods began to thin, and Atlantis grew proud. As the Atlantis grew in wealth and wisdom, so too did they grow in ambition. Their navy became unmatched, 1,000 ships patrolling the waves with bronze-tipped rams and crimson sails. Their armies marched across continents, conquering the land of Africa and Europe as far as Egypt and Italy. Kingdom after kingdom bent the knee, unable to resist the might of Atlantis. But power is strange tide. Once a people of grace, the Atlantis now sought domination. Their temples glitter, but their hearts dull. The scientists became sorcerers, their engineers conquerors. They enslaved entire cities, took tribute in silver and gold, and began to defy the gods who had once blessed them. It was then that Athens rose. In Plato tale, the ancient Athens, ancestor of the classical Greeks, stood as the final defense, the Atlantean juggernaut. Though smaller and poorer, they were virtuous, brave, and wise. And so a great war erupted. Atlantis on one side, Athens on the other. The battlers raced across the land, shaking the mountains and darkening the skies with fire and ash. And then it ended. Not with a sword, but with the sea. On day and on night of misfortune. This is how Plato described the catalysm. Earthquake cracked the foundation of the world. A storm howled as if the gods themselves had screamed. Great tidal waves crashed upon the island. The temple crumbled. The rings of the land split. The earth yawned and swallowed Atlantis whole. Just like that, it was gone. The sea closed over its glittering towers. The marble statue sank into silence. The ship bobbed broken in the storm-tossed waters. Atlantis was no more. Let us now return to Atlantis, not in the moment of its downfall, but the height of its splendor. Let us walk its broad streets and breathe its perfume air to witness what daily life might have felt like beneath in the golden sun and the gaze of mighty Poseidon. The city was a marvel, not merely in the wealth it displayed, but in the harmony it once held. Atlantis was arranged with mathematical precision, designed as concentric circle, alternating band of land and water that rippled outward like a giant eye gazing scarred. At the center stood the scared hill, the heart of the city, crowned with the royal palace, and the temple of the Poseidon and Plato. From the center, radiant breeze and canals, ferries and walkways, flowing like the arteries of a living world. The outer rings bustle with life, homes of polished stone, marketplace beneath flowering arcades, and dock thick with the skin of spice, cedar, and salt. Imagine a morning in Atlantis. The sun rises over the stern sea, casting amber light across silver domes. Fishermen, already at work, howl in nets glittering with strange fish, some glowing, some sleek as glass. Farmers tending farmers farmers tending tired garden, pluck ripe pomegranates, black grapes, and golden olive the size of a man's thumb. From the temple come the sound of prayer, soft chants, incense curling skyward in devotion. Citizens dressed in robes of linen and wool stroll the marble path. Some are scholars on their way to the libraries. Others are traders from foreign land, guiding camels across bridges. Children run through the water garden, laughing under the shadow of statues that rise taller than trees. All around is peace, orchestrated, elegant, divine. The people of Atlantis, according to myth, were highly advanced, not only in art and architecture, but in science and spirit. They were said to have mastered astronomy, measuring the heavens with precious even the Greek found astonishing. They understood the rhymes of the tides and harnessed geothermal energy from volcanic springs beneath their island. There were adequate that brought with that brought warm and cold water throughout the city. There were elevators, simple in design but brilliant in function, that lifted goods from ship to terrace. Their medicine, it said, could cure diseases unknown to their land. Their diet was rich with fish, grains, seafood, and rare herbs. And yet, for all their marvels, they did not forget their gods. Religion in Atlantis was not mere ritual, it was interwoven into every breath of life. The god Poseidon, a sheep among the pantheon, worshipped not with fear, but every but reverence. Every household kept a shrine, every market had a scared corner, every ship bore with trident carved into its hull, believed to ward off the anger of storms. The greatest temple of Atlantis stood on the central island, a structure that defied imagination, built of orichalcum, ivory, and gold. Its roof rose higher than the tallest tower, open to the stars. Inside, a colossal statue of Poseidon stood astride a chariot drawn by six-winged horses. His gaze set in bronze and gem. Around him coiled dolphin, leaped sea lion, rose coral spheres shaped by artisan diviners. On festival night, the entire city would gather around this temple. Musicians would play instruments shaped from polished shell and bone flutes. Dancers would swirl in robes dyed with deep ocean blue, reds drawn from crushed beetle shell. Pirates, priests would read the stars and offer liberation of honeyed wine and cursed pearl with the gold. On such rite they called Illumi was held at the spring equinox. It honored the balance of light and dark both in nature and in the soul. On the night, the rings of the city would glow with floating lamps reflected perfectly in the still water of the inner harbor. People whisper prayer for clarity, balance and pitch, never knowing how fragile such harmony could be. The king of Atlantis, once scared guardians of divine law, also took part in the rites. Their throne, 10 in all, were arranged in a perfect arc within the council hall. Each king governed a region, but all were beholden to the oath of blood, a pact made in the name of their divine ancestor. It was said that if ever a king broke his vow to the gods, Atlantis would fall. In time, some whisper the vows had indeed been broken. With wealth came temptation. With mystery came arrogance. Slowly, imperceptibly, at first, Atlantis began to drift from its divine path. The Orchalam, that once lined temple, now adorned private palace. The scared springs were rerouted to fill bath of the wealthy. Scholars turn from seeking wisdom to creating wonders that served the elite, and the poor, once protected, were now bound to labor for luxurious city they could never afford. The king grew distant from each other. Their counsel shortened. The scared bulls, once sacrificed in honor of Poseidon, were slaughtered in scare, in secret faced, held in gold tiled chamber deep beneath of the city. The harmony of Atlantis had begun to root from within. Saw the Sphinx, oracle cried of the seeing angers, oracle cried of the sea's anger. The stars dimmed for week at a time. The fishermen returned with empty net, and the stories of strange tremors beneath the waves. The earth itself. Still the king dismissed this as omens for the weak. They had sheep to build, territories to conquer, and rival nations to defeat. The wicked were again on the land of the Mediterranean, but this time they were turned against them. The Athens, with courage and cunning, punished the Atlantean fleets back into their harbors. Humiliated and weary, the empire turned inward, fracturing further, and then came the night. There are moments in history where everything changes in a single night, where the courses of centuries bend beneath the weight of a single catastrophe. And so it was. On the fated night, the night Atlantis was swallowed by the sea. The records do not agree on the day. Some say it began as celebration, a feast in honor of Poseidon's birth, with lanterns floating on the water, and song rising like incense into the starlit sky. Others say the earth had been growing for weeks, warning sign that had gone unheeded. But all the stories agree on one thing: the fall came suddenly, terribly, irrevocably. It began with a tremor, a low hum rising from beneath the ground, not unlike the distant sound of odd drums. The water in the harbor shifted, recalling from the docks as if drawn by some invisible breath. The animal cried fast, bird skirted, horses reared, dog whined and fled. Then the ground cracked, stone walls split down their centers, towers shivered and severed. The great temple of Poseidon, long the heart of the city, ground with a sound like thunder, and its golden dome cloves in a spray of molten fire and failing statue. People ran into the street, barefoot and confused, clutching infant, relics, scrolls, prayers. But there was nowhere to run. The breezes shattered, The canal burst their bank. Red fire split the sea as the central mountain, long dormant, erupted the flame. Smoke rose in the sky, blotting out the stars, and then the sea rose, not as a wave, but as a wall, dark, roaring, final. It came from all sides, crashing over the outer rings, sweeping away sheep, homes, gardens, all in a single breathless moment. The water devoured the marble halls, the golden thrones, the winding streets, the painted murals. Entire families were lost in a heartbeat. Some say the king were in a council when the water came. Others say they had already fled. There are tales of a small boat slipping out of sea, guided by starlight, carrying refugees who would never again speak the name of their homeland alone. By dawn, there was nothing left, no sound, no smoke, no survivors upon the land. Where once stood the greatest city the world had ever known, there was only water and silence. The story of Atlantis did not end with its destruction. No, it only changed from memory to myth, from story to echo. It passed through time like drift wood upon the sea, washing ashore in the minds of philosophers, poets, and dreamers. Plato was the first to write it down. He claimed it came from Solon, the wise lawgiver of Athens, who heard it from the priest of Egypt. And they, in turn, said the story had been old even in their time, an ancient tale of a powerful empire that once tried to conquer the known world and just punished by the gods for its arrogance. But Plato tells was more than warning. It was a riddle, a mirror, a vision of what happens when brilliance loses its soul, and for thousands of years people have searched not just for the ruins but for the meaning behind them. Some say Atlantis lied beneath of water of the coast of Spain. Others claim it was shallowed by the sand of the Sahara, or that Antarctica hid it beneath miles of frozen time. Each theory fascinating, each unproven. Still, explorers have sailed in search of its golden streets. Scholars have mapped underwater anomalies, sonar scanned and scored ancient text. Every time a ruin is found beneath the waves, be it off the coast or in the depth near Japan, the question arises, could this be Atlantis? And yet, Atlantis is more than a place, it's an idea. It's the dream of golden age. Atlantis sleeps beneath of the sea, but her memory rises with every tide.